Hi, everyone. I'm Pip from Seymour Digital Media. You're listening to Know How Marketing Lab podcast. This podcast brings together different experts in marketing from our Facebook group, Cyberpunk Geeks Marketing Mixer. Each week we get on here and we talk about something search marketing like Google Ads or SEO, social media marketing from Facebook to TikTok, or website marketing. If you're a marketer or aspiring marketer, a business owner or entrepreneur, this podcast for you. We're going to share the best SEO, search, social, and website strategies. We share tips and hacks, Google Ads strategies, what's going on in the current market. Each week we discuss something exciting and awesome in marketing.
Thrive using Google Ads. And so, of course, my name is Phelan. I work at Seymour Digital Media, where we focus on SEO and Google Ads.
And I'm Greg McKinnon. I work with Original 72, and we're a full-service website graphic design and digital marketing firm in Vancouver.
Awesome. And so, yeah, I think that just looking at the notes overall, it looks like we've got a couple of areas that we're going to be covering of this. So, you know, why Google Ads matters, small businesses, as well as what type of businesses, and as well, you know, how you can use Google Ads to grow your business. And so, I guess, where do we want to start with this part?
Well, I think going off of Pip's lovely notes in here, I think a big thing that happened recently was COVID. And one of the big things during that was businesses getting online and doing whatever they can to get noticed. And I guess out of that, you know, people realize what businesses can do well and what businesses maybe don't do as well. But that's really where we, I think where she thought of this topic was that. And now that it's so prevalent to be doing Google things, including ads, is to talk about which businesses do well. The first thing that she had mentioned in here was hard to find products, which I completely agree. You're obviously going to search for things that you have a hard time finding, right? So it would be obvious that the things that that people can't find, if you're advertising for them, the likelihood of that search, you know, resulting in them coming to your site or buying your product is pretty high.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that also Google Ads also helps fill out a lot of the funnel. So like you can use the ads to just do some very top of funnel stuff like, hey, do you have X problem? Well, why don't you look at Y solution? And so it gives you a good opportunity that people wouldn't know that your service or product offers a solution to their problem at that point. So it gives you an opportunity to kind of jump in there. And so while they might have thought like, oh, obviously I need, you know, this other service to solve it, that it gives you an opportunity that you're more hard to find one that you could jump in there and be like, hey, this could be an even better solution for you because of X, Y, and Z of benefits or, you know, reasons.
Yeah, the next one on her list here was sell urgent products or services. Again, I guess the theme here is almost the best performing products might be the ones that are difficult to find, or unique services, or services that you need like immediately that people are looking for.
Yeah, I'd almost put it as like discoverability. It gets solved with Google Ads. So like getting found at that right moment is a lot easier. That if I need 24-hour plumbing services, like I'm going to be clicking, if you're calling for 24-hour plumbing services, like you want to find that person as quickly as possible that's advertising that.
So I should do Google Ads for my website's been hacked. I need help.
Yeah, exactly. It's
not for web design.
Yeah, exactly. It's definitely one of those situations where you could maybe not quite that one. I don't know if you could. Hacked might be one of those weird words that if you put that up, because I've run into that as an issue as well, because there's all kinds of policy around stuff about
compromise.
Hacking and malware.
My website is down. I need help.
Yeah, exactly. That might be a good avenue. You could test it out.
But for me, that would be the urgent service. It would be
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah, it's not working, so I need someone now.
Yeah, exactly. The other group that's in here that I might have worded this just a little differently is kind of it's Pip left it as like a low cost per click industry, but which would be like plumbers and movers. You know, I would also define them as well defined. So I'm looking for a plumber. Like the general services that they're going to be offering. That what they're generally offering. That's a really good one for Google Ads, and and is one of the few situations I'd even say that apparently the smart campaigns or now they're moved over to something called Performance Max. It's one of the few areas that one type is really good because really the differentiators aren't that many, but leaving up to Google to kind of optimize for that, and it's a well-known industry. That's a really good opportunity as well for people to test those out. I've seen professional PPC advertisers do that as run an A/B test of their own campaigns versus like a complete performance campaign or Performance Max, and apparently they did just slightly better than the smart campaigns, as I call them. They did slightly better, so that's one that be worth testing. And just if you are getting that value, of course you would definitely still want to have your conversions and everything set up properly and make sure you're tracking things properly. That's going to be super important because anything involving smart campaigns is kind of a black box where Google just wants you to put in your credit card details and your website and then just let us do all the work, and they're trying to make it a black box. And
I think the danger with that is people actually do think Google is quite smart, and they're like, well, what could go wrong? Google probably knows everything about me and will do the better job than I can at targeting my customers, or that kind of a thing, that people feel comfortable doing those things, but they're so horrible for the most part.
Oh yeah. For in a vast majority of cases, my first go-to is not to do that for Google Ads. I would say try that as an experiment to run alongside of it and see if one's doing a little bit better. But definitely, no blind faith. It's how I was. I was very much in the same camp as you, where I'm like, you want to set up your tracking, you want to make sure that you're not just blindly handing over your credit card details, because Google, if you let them, also your incentives are not aligned with their incentives because they get paid for the click. They don't get paid for the conversion, so they don't really care about driving traffic to a page if it converts or not, because they're like, hey, we brought you all this traffic, and it's just well, yeah, but it's not target. It's not quality traffic. It's on people that are going to convert, because you'd rather have 10 people and 3 of them convert than 1,000 people and none of them convert. If you're offering a high value, you're a plumber, right? That doesn't make much sense.
Yeah, along those lines, conversion, one of the other big ones is obviously anyone with an e-commerce store selling products. What's your thought on the Google product listings stuff and selling through that? Are you a fan, or?
It is just getting set up with Google Merchant Center, which is if you have e-commerce, it goes to this one hub called Merchant Center, and then that connects out to Google Ads and free listings, or now even or your Google My Business, so you can do real-time inventory updates, and so people know before they even go to your store, oh, we don't have this product. So there's cool stuff like that that's out there. There's also, I've seen out in the wild now, YouTube shorts that are promoting products. I know it's just a little far afield from specifically the advertising, but I think that the cool part about this is Google is thinking about this more, integrating it more fully through their system, and whether you're promoting it on a YouTube video, because they're even doing it now for YouTube Lives. I've seen was one I saw that Shopify is working with. So you can do a live stream where you're talking about your new product, and then people can go to a checkout right there, and the video will also run through the checkout process as well. It looks pretty cool. But I think that those opportunities are going to get better for small businesses or people that are looking to promote.
So all I'm envisioning now is late night TV. They have those half hour
Yeah, the
live,
infomercials.
like order now, or 3 easy payments of
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
or we'll give you 2 for the price of 1, and like it's a half-hour infomercial where you call in. Is this what it's moving to?
I think it's more entertaining than that part of it, where it's like a
Yeah,
hard pitch. Like, I think that there's, I don't think it's going to be strictly people selling, because like that's just not how that turns people off. But I think that it's going to
people
get,
don't want to just watch a video of someone trying to sell you a product. Yeah,
yeah. Like maybe if it's like the launch of it, and then it's part of like the launch day. It's like, hey, we've got this. It's brand new, and you might do an unboxing video, and then that's going to be kind of part of it. I don't think. Yeah, I think the days of like a hard infomercial sell the whole time is just. I don't think that's going to happen the same way anymore. Like
that's just the first thing it reminded me of.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. I definitely had the thin line that someone will walk between those two is it's much smaller than I think people are thinking that line is. But yeah, I'd say, but going back to the ads themselves and how they integrate, I think that there's a really good opportunities in there. The shopping ads are really good, and if you properly get through and you're all set up with everything for Merchant Center, then you also have a really cool opportunity with dynamic display ads. So basically, if I went to a certain product on that website, then that product will be the one that gets promoted in additional display campaigns. So like you'll do retargeting using that specific one. So there's lots of like cool opportunities there that I think that people can look at of just ways to. The other thing that when I was looking over the notes, that it reminded me of, that kind of going off this, is retargeting is a big one that you could do now with Google Ads, because you'll spend a lot of effort to like get people there, but maybe they leave, maybe they don't convert. Well, this is a good way for pennies on the dollar, because retargeting is much more cost effective, and to do it that way. And it gives you an opportunity to build up lists of people. And also, if you've got a very sophisticated system, like, like, oh, people who didn't like my emotional pitch, maybe they want the hard, hey, read the 5 benefits of doing X. And so they might want that as like the beneficial one, rather than the feel good side of it. And so you could do different pitches based on which ad they did see or which page they did land on. Like if it's a blog post talking about, Susie felt really good after she got all of her drains cleared out. And then that didn't work. So you do like the 5 benefits of cleaning out your drains during the summer. And like you could retarget people with different pitches. So that it gives you more opportunities there as well. I think that that's going to be a really big one as well in the future, as people get a little more sophisticated in their messaging and how you're presenting to people if they've gone to the website and then didn't complete whatever the action was.
Yeah, and the other thing about retargeting is that the person's already shown interest. There is some type of interest in your business there that they've shown at some point in the past. So the conversion should be slightly easier to those markets, and you can make it much more targeted because these people have already seen you, so you can get more straight to the point with your ads with that demographic as well, probably.
Yeah, it definitely, and it's also, especially if you're doing with the new GEA4, that making an audience of people that like spent more than 30 seconds on the website, and you're only getting a segment, so those people are even more like targeted, right? That they didn't just bounce out right away. They spent a little bit of time, they went around your website, and then they're like, oh, and then they left for whatever reason. Like you said, that those are people that might have, needed an additional part of the pitch. And so that gives you a really good opportunity to jump in there and go, hey, you were looking at this. What if I gave you a discount code? Something like that. Like, there's other ways that you can incentivize people to come back. And like you said, they're already showing interest. They've already spent, if you like do a time elapsed. Generally, if someone's on a website, if they didn't like it, they bounce out right away. And so and then you don't even target those people.
Yeah.
It's definitely some really good opportunities as well. So there's ones of high ticket items Google Ads are really good for. So, just like we've been talking about retargeting, maybe it takes multiple touch points. it's a high value ticket item, and they might need, a variety of different sort of ads that go across different platforms that Google has out there. It also gives you opportunities as well that we're getting into of reusing any content you are making. So maybe you make a 60-second clip. Well, now that can become a YouTube ad. And so you can make that as part of the pitch. And they're all kind of touch points along the journey that you're kind of wanting, because people are busy and people live frenetic lives, and you don't want to be pushy, but you do want to remind people what you offer and how you can help them.
So who do you feel has the best success with Google Ads? Would it be more like medium to large established businesses, or do small businesses succeed quite a bit as well?
Yeah, I think it's not necessarily about the size of the company per se. I don't think that's always the metric I always think of. I think it's more about like, is Google like the way Google Ads works? And again, because we've already talked about different types, right? Like, so it's about like, how aware are people in that journey, right? Like, because people, if they're already familiar with like a plumber, like most people know what a plumber does, well, then that's going to be a really good business for doing Google Ads, because all you're trying to do is have the right messaging at that right moment, right when they're like Googling, exploded toilet or whatever it is that they're, something like that, emergency plumbing repair, something like that, where you want to jump in right at that moment, and then that's going to be a really good business for that. Keep in mind a lot of those businesses, because how easy it is, like there's a lot of competition, so you're going to need to be strategic in your time, like thinking about how much you want to spend and when you're spending it, and keep an eye out for it, because costs go up significantly, and you're going to fight with some businesses. The biggest issue I would say of like small business to big business is driving up CPCs, like the cost per click. We work with a tree service company that has emergency tree service. Some variation of that is something like right now it's $100 and some odd for one click.
Wow, $100 for one click?
Yeah.
Wow. And it's because of the competition?
Yeah, they're willing to bid up that much in order to get it, because they know that if they get in that one, that they're most likely going to get a repeat call if there's another issue later on, or maybe it's just like, oh, we just kind of want to get these trees pruned before fall. And the problem is those companies they're usually bigger companies or kind of franchises, something of that model, so they've got fairly deep pockets, so they can shell out and they can kind of wait you out for all intents and purposes. And it's very annoying. I will
almost
say,
like a loss leader type of a scenario where you're willing to lose on the first one just to get them in the door, sort of thing.
Yeah. Again, it all depends. Like, you've got to be strategic on how you're doing your marketing on the back end. It may be worth it. I've heard of even small businesses that, like, when they actually had 2 or 3 years worth of data and they did really hard to calculate, but like your LTVs and your CAC, so your lifetime value of a client and your cost per acquisition. Some people, like I'd heard of like a soap company that they were spending on their Google ads and Facebook ads. Their first sale was a loss leader. They would just take the hit on it because they did the calculations and saw that over the course of the 2 years, they made double that. If they could just get that one sale, they made double or triple what they were putting in for the ad spend.
Want to know more about SEO? We've got a class for that. Our mission is to educate students about the right tools, techniques, and strategies to grow their businesses using the most up-to-date search engine marketing optimization techniques and tools. Find out more at knowhowmarketinglab.com.
Yeah, obviously businesses like that can make those decisions and say, let's do this kind of thing to get people in the door, because the service we provide or the products we provide are things that will continue to be sold over time. So that's an easy strategy for those types of businesses, for sure.
Yeah. Well, and it also gives you a good in with a situation where you do the loss leader and then you get them on an email list. And because they've already purchased, even if you're doing something like a tree service company and you say, like I said earlier, hey, fall's coming, get those trees trimmed before it's too late, book a call now. And then it's got the call to action. You're only getting 2% of people to actually click through. But like, if you've got a couple hundred people on that email list, that's a lot of work for the guys coming out to the crews to keep them busy, and it costs you very little to send that email, and those people already trust you. So like, it's on multiple fronts that just getting them into your orbit, for lack of a better word, can definitely help you with just getting the ad spend to get them in the door. And then you just do these kind of free, for all intents and purposes, email marketing is like pretty free as far as everything's concerned. And then you get them on that, and then you can just email them every, quarter, and then just keep that alive, keep them going, and then you're making money that way.
I guess moving on from that, getting the customer, that was all good. We have some notes about helping grow a business. So I guess that's once, maybe not so much once you've converted someone and growing, but using it specifically if you are a smaller business to boost your sales and get more people is, I'm assuming, probably what she was meaning with these notes.
Yeah, because like Google Ads is definitely, it's a very scalable ads platform. Like as we've been talking about, you've got retargeting options, you've got different types. There's like the display, there's the YouTube, there's shopping. There's a variety of different ad types that are out there that can help you with, we've talked about like, oh, you've got the loss leader. Okay, that's good. We get people in the door. We know that will work. Okay, so what's some other ways that we could promote to people? You can do ones like there's even Gmail ads. If you do a really good Gmail ad campaign, which I don't like, there's definite ways to do that as well. Of like we were saying, hey, read on 4 reasons why you should get your tree branches trimmed before winter. That'll direct them to a blog post where it's got the call to action, and those costs per click are going to be lower. So there's different ways that you can use this to start. Okay, now that we've got like a pretty straightforward machine running with this basic search ads. Okay, what can we do that will complement this or fill in some of the gaps where we're losing people in the process? And so this will be ways that we can, or even like maybe you're getting people with SEO, right? Like you're getting people in the door and you're getting 2% that are converting, but you could probably squeeze another 1%. Well, maybe retargeting ads will be a good situation there. And so you can look at ones where you're putting in all this effort to get organic traffic, and then all you're doing is trying to recapture some of that as well by driving it back with it.
Another great use along the same lines would be, for me, if you're introducing a new product or service that you aren't necessarily known for yet, and you've already been advertising, is to use that advertising to really push that brand new product or service out to new people, and even retargeted to the people that know you already who might also want that new service for you. It could be really beneficial.
Yeah, I think that's a really good one where, like you said, it's something that they're aware of you for X, but you're going to start moving into Y. And so you're like, hey, you can advertise that part as well. Like you said, that's a really good one. Just building off that, because you reminded me of it. Once you start running ads and you go to the search term report, now Google has anonymized it significantly. So they've given us 6 times more in the last year. So that can be a really good, because what do people do? They go to Google to ask questions. And so that gives you a great opportunity for blog content, answering people's questions in the ads. It's like, hey, worried about X? Try this to solve it with Y. And so it gives you a really good opportunity to target people that might be typing in those type of keywords, or even writing blog posts that answer those questions. And so that gives you a wellspring of just information people are typing into Google and that we're showing up with your ads. It also gives you a good opportunity to also remove something. So you may see something that's like, oh, I don't want to be the cheapest tree service company. So you can just not bid on that and you can exclude it. So it gives you opportunities as well to kind of narrow things and really hone the messaging based on what people are typing in, what your copy is. And so you can like make sure that it matches exactly.
Here's one that we didn't discuss, but I just thought of it as something that I would find interesting if you know of any businesses or products or services that it's really not worthwhile doing ads. 'Cause I'm sure there's a couple of things that are just like worthless to advertise for. Have you come across anything that really just doesn't work on Google Ads for the most part?
Yes. It's not one I've worked on, but it's one that I am aware of, which is generally like kind of startup SaaS products. Almost 9 times out of 10, it is not worth it because you're probably copying someone else, and you're like, you do have a differentiator, but until you reach a certain level that you've got like your messaging and everything's figured out and you have money, it's a waste. That's a big one that I've seen. Again, it goes back to discoverability. If people are like, looking for email marketing for dog trainers, you might get lucky, but the costs, you're just going to get swallowed up by the bigger players that'll start targeting that. And so generally it's just not worth it.
And we're getting close to wrap up time, but one of the final things, I guess, is Google Ads really worth it?
I would say it is worth it in the sense of you should try it for your business. Oh, there's a good question that's come from our YouTube. Crazy. And so King Elliot is asking, what is the best source for paid traffic? So, I mean, at the end of the day, I would say it depends on how your messaging works. It's basically, that's the mode that I think of, is like, are you looking to kind of that people don't even know that they want your service or product? Then I would go with Facebook. But if people have some vague notion of, I know the problem I'm looking for, I know that there's a general solution out there, because those people are putting their hand up and saying, I'm interested in looking for a plumber. That's a really good time for finding them with Google Ads. So that's kind of the mode that I think of, because you got to remember Facebook and Instagram ads are all about disrupting you from your flow to be like, hey, I bet you want to know about this. And Google Ads is more, I've put up my hand looking for answers about this, and you're just paying to be at the very top.
It's a little bit of a different question to answer because it also depends on the type of business, where your demographic is likely to be, and things like that. So it's hard to say definitively one way is the best one to get your online traffic from. So really you have to potentially experiment with each of them and see which one gives you the best return, and continue with the one that works and drop the ones that are really not working for you.
Yeah, very much so. Though I would say apparently one of the worst paid traffic is Spotify. Yeah, apparently it's just not worth it. The targeting's off. Like everything about it is just not, it's not very good. The ROI is just not worth it at all. So that was an interesting one. I'd heard from a gentleman who used every single paid platform, and that was his report, was basically he can make any of them work except Spotify. He tried everything under the sun and couldn't get it to work.
For conversions, or because I could see Spotify maybe being one that would be fine for brand recognition because people are listening to Spotify and that type of thing. And if you continually see or hear something about a business, it potentially could have that brand recognition down the road. But as far as converting for sales and leads and things like that, I could see it definitely not being a great source for that.
Yeah, though I had heard one that was really good, and it was in relation to direct mail, which is using the Google Home or Alexa, because they're so common now that you say like, hey, just say to your Amazon or your Alexa, like, and then it has a key phrase, and then that key phrase will trigger the conversion. So you know that person got that mailer. But I could see that also working with Spotify as well. Like, say like, hey, thanks. Yeah, I can't think of an example off the top of my head, but that one was definitely one that was out there. For next week, what do we have, Greg?
Oh, next week, it's possibly with Rena and you. I know there was some scheduling changes, but the topic, I believe, will be cross-channel blog distribution, the missing steps that you need to know for that.
Yeah, I think that is what we're doing. I believe so as well. And yeah, it just falls to us to say, my name's Phelan, Seymour Digital Media.
And I'm Greg with Original 72.
And bye for now.
The conversation never stops in our Facebook group, Cyberpunk Geeks. Join us at facebook.com/groups/cyberpunk geeks to ask your questions, meet new friends, and learn even more about search, social, and websites.